I deem it a great honor for having been chosen to inaugurate the 77th conference of this great institution. When I went through the Ossovinia, I could know a little bit of the history of this great institution. What for it was started, who were the people who were behind it, and what was their vision. And what is even more exciting, I would say, is that for well over 7 decades, great men of vision and distinction have led this organization to its present level. Even to perform here, I understand, is a matter of great pride. And it is the life, ambition and dream of every artist to get recognized by this institution. And today it is the fortunate privilege of my good friend, Mr. Shankar Narayan, to receive that honor. Let me join you in saluting the memory of all those great men and women who have guided the destiny of this institution. And may we all wish Music Academy 1,000 more years of great service to the Carnatic music. As I stand before you and see this distinguished audience, I am conscious of the fact that you are not only good Rasikas, but something more than that. You are enlightened citizens, deeply concerned about the well-being of the nation, and sensitive enough to reach out and do something to improve things. It is with that hope that I intend to speak to you. Those who have spoken on these occasions in the last 7 decades were all men of great knowledge and wisdom, scholars who could speak about the depth of this great tradition. But I am no match to that. I know it myself, and my good friend Mr. Vasu also knows it. So there can't be any disappointment for either of us. But as a layman, as a citizen of this great country, and as one who is equally concerned about the nation, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the role and relevance of this great tradition. This music has a message to convey. It's not just entertainment, it's a lot more than that. It is to enlighten us, to elevate us, and the society as a whole. That is why there is a social orientation to this tradition. It doesn't stop with culture alone. It is concerned about the total well-being of the society. It is in that I would like to give you a little bit of the background, the times we are living in. Friends, we are in the beginning of the 21st century. The last 150 years saw the domination of science, an era which we rightfully called as the era of knowledge explosion. It is said that the knowledge acquired and accumulated in the last 150 years is a lot more than what we have acquired and accumulated ever since the dawn of civilization. We have conquered everything around us. The whole universe is virtually under our control. But the question before us is, to what extent we have mastered ourselves, we have understood ourselves. That is why, in this fast-changing environment, we find it difficult to cope up with the changes. The changes are far too radical and even fundamental. The question is, will we be able to cope up with the challenges and the opportunities that these changes are throwing on us? Or in other words, are we in a position to convert these challenges into opportunities? Do we have the inner strength to do it? I don't think we have. If we really have, we won't be reading all that in the newspapers every morning. What are the challenges that threaten mankind today? There are a lot of challenges. All of you are aware of it. But I have listed out a few challenges that threaten mankind today as a whole. Not only India, the whole mankind. Religious intolerance, racial discrimination, economic marginalization, political conflicts, cultural degradation, ecological imbalance, and social tensions. These are to list out some of the major threats that mankind has to meet today. The result of all these challenges is that there is wholesale hatred, violence, and bloodshed everywhere. The only agenda for mankind today is how to counter terrorism. In other words, friends, after 150 years of the so-called knowledge explosion, the agenda before mankind today is how to sustain all that we have been doing all along. The reason for all this is, as I told you, we have been busily trying to understand everything around us, ignoring the world within us. As a result, knowledge for the sake of knowledge has underwent tremendous changes. But knowledge for the sake of knowledge can be dangerous and destructive. If there is a mismatch between knowledge and wisdom, times can be very difficult, and that's what we see today. The great philosopher-statesman of India, Dr. Radhakrishnan, rightly cautioned us. Many decades ago, he said, one of his best quotations, "Physical efficiency and intellectual alertness can be dangerous if spiritual illiteracy prevails." And that is precisely what we see in the 21st century today. There is an illiteracy of spiritualism in this country. In other words, there is enough and more knowledge, but we don't know what to do with that knowledge. As a result, we see total damage and destruction all around us. There are problems in the family, there are problems in the society, problems in the nation, and problems in the world. As far as India is concerned, friends, it's now more than 56 years since we started managing ourselves. The one big achievement in the last 56 years is the fact that, in spite of all the pluralistic disparities, we have remained together and made democracy a reality in this country, which is by no means an ordinary achievement. And we have made tremendous progress in this last 56 years. There's no two views about it. But the question I would like to pose to all of you is, could we not have done better? We have done well, no doubt. But could we not have done better? We could have done better. What is it India doesn't have? We have abundant human resource. We have abundant natural resource. And to top it all, we have 5,000 years of culture, the like of which no other nation can boast of. Why, in spite of all these fundamentals, we have not moved forward to where we should really be? The reason, the answer is the prevailing crisis of character and leadership in this nation. This is the one and the only reason I could attribute to for what we have not done. Or else India should have been a superpower by now. We have lost our roots, our cultural heritage. It's no more visible anywhere. It is here. I would like to recall what the great Swami Vivekananda said. Somebody asked him, "Swami, what are the ideals of India?" And Swami Vivekananda said, "The twin ideals of India are service and sacrifice." Do we see that anywhere? We don't. It is rare to be born a human being, friends, and he is said to be the crowning glory of all creations, because he has the capacity to discriminate between the right and the wrong and the real and the unreal. He suffers from no limitations whatsoever. He has infinite potentials in him. He is the maker of his own destiny. He can be what he wants to be. He is not a programmed being. Unfortunately, how many of us know of it? How many of us have been told of it? We all think ourselves to be limited, finite beings. To the contrary, the Vedanta says man is the maker of his own destiny. Nothing can stop him, nothing can limit him. He is the maker. He can do and undo anything and everything around him. That is the power of this human birth. But unfortunately, we suffer from ignorance. We don't know the divinity that resides in us, much less the art of manifesting that divinity. The present day religion, the present day education, I am sorry to say, does not help you to know any of these things. The present day religion or the present day education does not enlighten you of the divinity in you, does not help you to manifest that divinity in you. Mahakavi Bharati சொன்னாரே, நல்லதோர் வீணை செய்து அதை நலம்கட புழுதியில் எரிவதுண்டோ? சொல்லடி சிவசக்தி, என்னை சுடர்விடும் அறிவுடன் படைத்து விட்டாய், வல்லமை தாராயோ. That is the wisdom. வல்லமை தாராயோ இந்த மாநிலம் பயனுற வாழ்வதற்கே. This has to be the prayer song for the whole of the nation, I should say. வல்லமை தாராயோ. மகாகவி பாரதிக்கு தெரியும் வல்லமை வெளியே இருந்து உள்ளே வருகின்ற ஒன்றல்ல, உள்ளே இருந்து வெளியே வர வேண்டிய ஒன்று என்பதை அந்த மகாகவிக்கு தெரியாததல்ல. சுடர்விடும் அறிவுடன் படைத்து விட்டாய், வல்லமை தாராயோ இந்த மாநிலம் பயனுற வாழ்வதற்கே. That is what we need today in the name of education, the name of religion. Close to this, yet another beautiful quotation to sum up the whole thing by Swami Vivekananda again. Sorry if I repeat that name too often, because I know only that one name. And I know for certain that one name is enough for the whole of humanity. Don't have too many names and don't get confused. That one name is enough. The one man who said in the 20th century the synthesis of science and spirituality is the only salvation for the world. And this man says, please listen, I quote, teach yourself, teach everyone his true nature. Call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakes. Power will come, glory will come, goodness will come, and all that is excellent will come when the sleeping soul is raised to self-conscious activity. Nowhere in the world, to my knowledge, anyone has said anything like this. But the question is how to make it possible. It is okay for the pundits and the scholars to get the Vedic vision of this nation. But what about people like us, the ordinary ones? Can we understand the Vedic vision of the nation? No, we can't. You and I can't read the Upanishads and understand the content of it. What about the man in the street? The only way is through devotion or bhakti. Only through devotion you can lift yourself. And that is what the great Indian art and tradition is doing it all along. It is through devotion you can purify your mind. It is through devotion you can gain the clarity, the will and the vision. You can get yourself sensitized. This is what is most important today. During the freedom struggle of India, the whole nation stood as one, answering to the call of the Mahatma Gandhi. The whole nation was sensitized. Today we are not sensitized. This auditorium was the foundation for it was laid by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Am I right, sir? One of the greatest visionaries of the 20th century. What did he say when India became free? At the stroke of midnight, when the rest of the world is fast asleep, India wakes up into freedom and makes a tryst with destiny to wipe off every tear from every eye of every Indian. It's now 56 years since that great man made this commitment. Where are we today? Even after 56 years, there's so much of poverty, hunger, ignorance. Why? Why should it be so? What is it we don't have? We got to ask ourselves this question. Therefore, the only way to improve India and to humanity is to start from the individual. The individual's emotions has to be refined and defined. We have to be made a lot more responsible and sensitive to the needs and the miseries of our fellow beings. There is no other way. It is only through devotion you gain the clarity of thought, courage of conviction, and commitment to the cause, and more than all that, compassionate to the core. All this is possible only through devotion, and all that we do in the name of art in India is nothing but a manifestation of that devotion. Minus devotion, there is nothing in the Indian art. Indian art is not meant for entertainment, and I don't have to tell this audience about it. Everything is a journey towards Godhood in this nation. There is nothing narrow-mindedness in this nation. Everything is sacred in this nation. Whether it is art or whether it is culture, everything is centered around the temples of this great nation. Therefore, friends, I'm coming to the close of it. My good friend said 20 minutes. Fortunately, there is no bell there, but the speaker is there. We are great friends. but we don't take liberty on each other. So I'm conscious there's a big watch staring at me there. So I have to conclude. But I have a lot more to say. But I have to respect the discipline, the system, the protocol of this great institution. The traditional arts of India are the gifts of God, divine in nature. And these great artists are the instruments to communicate the divinity to us. And the academy is a temple of learning. Men may come, men may go, but the academy has to go on for thousands of years. It is the will of the God that this institution stands here right now. Music Academy is the ultimate for the music world of this nation. As I told you, to sing here, to dance here is itself a big reputation. They have been very careful in choosing the recipients of these awards. About my good friend, Mr. Shankaranarayan, I asked somebody to say something about him. The only thing he said was, some musicians excel on one occasion, total flop on some other occasion. Mr. Shankaranarayan excels all the time. Only a fortnight back he was with us at Coimbatore at our Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. He sang till 10 o'clock. And the entire crowd was there. Nobody left, which is something unusual for Coimbatore, you know. Because we are not that good at art, music, culture and all that. We are trying to catch up, but it will take a lot more time perhaps. So before I conclude, friends, I wish to quote what Arnold Toynbee, one of the greatest British historians, said about India. I can say about India, you can say about India, we'll be biased. But what did someone from outside, Arnold Toynbee, one of the most reputed historians, said? I'll just quote, "At this supremely dangerous moment in history, the only salvation for mankind is the Indian way." So we have tremendous responsibility to guide the destiny of not only India, but the whole world. Because we have a profound message to the world, and we have to communicate that message and see to it peace and harmony prevails on this nation. I once again thank you very much for having given me this rare opportunity. Thank you very much.